Welcome to the Southeast Idaho Weather Hazard Briefing for Monday, September 16th. We'll take a look at the satellite imagery across the Pacific Northwest from early this morning. We've been talking for several days now about a Pacific low that's going to impact the region for the beginning of the week. And you can see that low pressure system has already started to shift inland along the Washington and Oregon coasts. The front associated with this system is located approximately along this line here and is expected to shift across East Idaho later today. We'll begin to see effects from this low impact East Idaho as early as this afternoon. You can see some of this moisture starting to move up into East Idaho from Utah, and this region here generally along and east of Interstate 15 may be susceptible later this afternoon to isolated showers and thunderstorms as that system rolls through. Ahead of the front, as it approaches eastern Idaho, we are expecting winds to increase across portions of the area, and we have issued a wind advisory for strong gusty south winds, generally along the Interstate 15 corridor from the Utah state line up through about the Blackfoot region, including Pocatello, McCammon, and also stretching as far east as the Preston area for later this afternoon into this evening. This wind advisory is in effect from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. today for those south winds ahead of the front. And here's a depiction of how we expect those winds to look later this afternoon. The strongest winds should be at the ridge lines, generally in the Malad to Preston and Montpelier areas. But we are expecting those south winds to continue through the Interstate 15 corridor and along the Interstate 86 corridors, basically through American Falls up to about Fort Hall. And those strong south winds could be an issue for high-profile vehicles and vehicles hauling trailers. So we're urging people to be careful while they're driving through the region this afternoon and early this evening. I'd also like to draw your attention to some of these stronger winds. This is a 6 p.m. look at how we expect the winds to play out later today. And this is about the timing of the front through the eastern Magic Valley. It should be about the 8 o'clock time frame through the Pocatello area, and then by midnight should be past the Idaho-Wyoming state line. As that front shifts through early this evening, these winds directly behind the front could get strong as well. We do not have any wind advisories or other wind-associated headlines in place for that yet, because that timing of those winds is going to be highly dependent on the timing of the front as it shifts through. But just be aware that there could be a threat for some pretty strong wind gusts just behind that front as it passes through the region. That front, aside from the showers and thunderstorms early this afternoon, or rather this afternoon for the eastern highlands, we do expect precipitation to overspread most of the region for tonight into Tuesday. Most of the precipitation should be concentrated over the higher elevations, including the Central Mountains, the Island Park region, and down the eastern highlands along the Wyoming border toward the Utah state line. Once the temperatures start to fall behind the front, especially into late tonight into early Tuesday, we are expecting some snow to develop at the higher elevations, mainly across the Central Mountains. And this is what we expect that snow depiction to look like through about noon tomorrow. Basically, the snow is expected to stay above the 7,500 to 8,000 foot elevation, and those amounts should be pretty light, generally less than an inch in most areas that would affect people driving through the region. As we discussed before, we do expect a brief break after the system moves through Tuesday night. We do expect the second storm system following this first one to slide into the region. Looks like the models are trending toward bringing some precipitation into the Central Mountains for during the day on Wednesday, but we expect that to overspread the region Wednesday night into Thursday, with another cold front Wednesday night and temperatures falling to the upper 50s to lower 60s for most of the lower elevation areas for Thursday. So that system will bring unsettled conditions into Saturday with continued cool weather and breezy conditions at times. But we are looking for high pressure to start building back into the region beginning as early as Sunday for a pleasant start to the following work week. This concludes the briefing for this morning. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to call the number on the screen. And as always, if you have comments or feedback on the content or delivery of this briefing, please feel free to drop our webmaster an email. Thank you for joining us today.